appreciate the opportunity. Denise, thanks for giving me a second chance at attending my last day of class ever. So excited about that. And I actually had pretty decent attendance. So my name is Joseph Springs. I'm the Director of Product Supply Planning for Consolidated. I'm going to kind of tee this up with the company, what we do, my career path, and then the scientist in me had to pick a discrete failure to kind of walk through, but it's going to be painted with a lot of the stuff you heard. Kevin, when you came up here, your approach to failure, from my perspective, is everything. And in this scenario, it was the lack of my approach that ultimately led to the failure that. So Coke Consolidated is a company based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are North America's largest bottler and distributor of Coke products. So we are separate from Coke North America in Atlanta, but we service 14 states plus Washington, D.C. And in my group, and my team is responsible for all of the demand planning, forecasting, what we're going to sell where, how we're going to go make the product across our 14 plants, and then how are we going to ship it around. So we ship roughly about 1,000 truckloads worth of Coke products across the U.S. every day for Coke Consolidated. So just a fun fact about Charlotte. Who's seen a Coke truck that says made in Charlotte running around? It literally was made 85 in Brookshire, right behind the water treatment plant, which has some pretty cool synergies going on there. But so Coke Consolidated is a company that I've been working for about 10 years, started in the warehouse, and got pulled into product supply planning as a planner. And through my career, I've been very fortunate because of industry changes and to have some really influential leaders that have actually promoted failure in the sense that if you don't break something, you're not trying hard enough. If you want to push industry forward, if you want to move forward, you're going to fail. So you'll hear that classic statement, fail forward, and it's absolutely true. In this scenario that I'm going to walk through, I got my current position about 4 years ago, in which I have roughly half of my team that has 20 plus years of experience in the Coke industry, more than I do. So one of the reasons why I've kind of moved through up and propelled into the supply chain industry is I'm really good at not being afraid to ask questions. So that's one of the big keys, like a great way to avoid failure is ask others and get more input. Don't be afraid to ask questions or afraid to raise your hand and say, you know what, really don't know what I'm doing. In this example, I asked, got input, rejected the input, took a defensive stance, and it ended up not working out very well for me. But so through this trajectory of Coke Consolidated, in the last 3 years, we've actually tripled in size. So my team has gone from a team of 16 to a team of 40. And what I've been really working on is listening. So in the next evolution of my leadership is listening to others, listening to those individuals that have the business experience, and keeping that humble mindset, knowing that you're not the expert, but somebody else may be. So that's kind of my message. Listen with humility. If somebody's taking the time to tell you something, listen. And so the discrete example was in 2013, we had groundbreaking product launches. They weren't actually that innovative, they existed, but there's a half-liter 6-pack PET that you'll see on shelves. We decided to do 2 brand extensions with Mellow Yellow and Phantom Orange. These brands are generally known in the Coke industry as not performing well in your Walmarts of the world, in your Food Lions. But as the new director and demand manager, I had great assumptions and great numbers about how this product was going to outperform anything before. At the time, I had a gentleman on my team, Steve Brooks. He had 35 years of production planning experience in the Coke industry. He sat me down and said, look, I see your math. Yes, Excel can do math, right? It's not a question of whether or not you're intelligent enough to do math. But I'm not buying your assumptions. And what are you talking about? Like, here's all the outlets we're going to put this in. Here's what our sales teams confirm they're going to do. We need to go produce these 100,000 cases of these two items because it's going to be the biggest launch of the year. Steve, come on, get with the program. Because I'm not buying it. And his team is the one that actually schedules the production across our other plants. They're part of my team now, so we like to joke about this quite a bit. And so as time goes by, we're getting close to launch, we're preparing to put this product in the market. Steve sits me down again and says, man, Joseph, I'm really not buying these numbers. Like, this is 3 solid days worth of production across our network, which is exponentially larger than anything. I'm not buying it. Get with the program, Steve. Like, here's the assumptions, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna go launch this and it's gonna be huge. I said, okay, so in the CYA, I was on the other end of that, meaning this is what Joseph said to run because he leads that team. We produced 100,000 cases of this product and sold about 30. So here we are, got 70,000 cases of products. A little known fact is these PET products actually only have 13 weeks of shelf life before the carbonation starts leaking through the semi-permeable PET. So as that product is starting aging, it's a ticking time bomb. I have about 70,000 cases that I'm on the hook for, which was roughly about $120,000 worth of inventory. So the final thing is when you do make a mistake, own it. Don't have somebody have to pull out a CYA note to point the finger at you. Hopefully you're not pointing fingers at each other in the industry to begin with. But you know, one of the things I kind of walk through with my team, and on product supply, you end up cleaning a lot of messes, but be the one with the broom and the mop. If you make the mess, get down, help clean it up. So in this case, what I did was started calling bottlers, started connecting with food banks. We now have a great connection with some local Charlotte food banks where we're able to donate product. We get a write-off exposure there, so it didn't hit the full impact of the 120, but we were able to work down the $120,000 to about $30,000 of exposure. And you're going to make mistakes in your industry, regardless of what area you get into. Luckily for those of you who may join product supply, you're going to make a mistake every day. But don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to clean up. In fact, I encourage you to be the one holding the broom and holding the